What if the most valuable item in your home right now isn't in your investment portfolio, your safe, or your bank account? What if it's sitting forgotten in a coin jar, buried in a drawer, or resting at the bottom of a cup holder in your car? Millions of Americans handle coins every day without a second thought. La coins world. They spend them on coffee, toss them into tip jars, or leave them scattered across countertops. But every once in a while, an ordinary-looking coin turns out to be anything but ordinary. And today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in modern numismatics, of the mysterious 1994 mint mark Washington quarter that has collectors searching through their pocket change with renewed urgency. Imagine two people receiving the exact same quarter as change. One person spends it without hesitation. The other takes a closer look, notices something unusual, and discovers a coin worth more than most luxury homes. That difference, the difference between a spender and a collector, can literally be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The frightening part is that valuable coins are lost every day because people simply don't know what they're holding. The 1994 Washington quarter appears completely ordinary at first glance. Struck at the Denver Mint and featuring the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the iconic eagle reverse design, it looks just like millions of other quarters produced during the same year. In fact, more than 880 million Washington quarters were struck in 1994 across all mints, making the date itself seem far from rare. But rarity in the coin world isn't always about mintage numbers. Sometimes, the most valuable coins are created by mistakes, and that's where this story becomes extraordinary. Before we get into the specific errors that have collectors buzzing, take a moment and think about this. How many quarters have passed through your hands over the years? Hundreds? Thousands? Tens of thousands? Now imagine that one of them could have paid off a mortgage, funded a retirement account, or transformed your financial future. It sounds unbelievable, but that possibility is exactly what keeps collectors searching. The Washington Quarter series has a long history of famous minting errors. Throughout the decades, production mishaps have created some of the most desirable coins in American numismatics. Double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, wrong planchet errors, and dramatic die varieties have all commanded astonishing premiums. The 1994 quarter occupies a particularly interesting place in this landscape. Certain examples have surfaced displaying dramatic minting anomalies that make them stand out from ordinary circulation pieces. Among the most discussed are major double die characteristics, severe die deterioration patterns, striking abnormalities, and highly unusual die gouges that create distinctive visual markers. While many minor errors carry modest premiums, the most dramatic examples become the stuff of collector legend. One of the most sought-after traits involves significant doubling visible and key design elements. When a die receives an improper impression during the manufacturing process, portions of the design can appear duplicated. To the untrained eye, the effect may seem insignificant. To an experienced collector, it can signal an incredibly valuable variety. Another category involves off-center strikes. During the minting process, a blank planchet must be perfectly aligned between the dies. When alignment fails, portions of the design may be missing while blank areas appear elsewhere on the coin. The more dramatic the displacement, the more attention the coin tends to receive from advanced collectors. But the truly elite examples are those that combine multiple factors. Imagine a coin with a major striking error, exceptional preservation, and documented rarity. Suddenly, you're no longer dealing with pocket change. You're dealing with a serious collectible asset. Now, here's an attention reset. If you have a jar of old coins somewhere in your house, pause this video later and check it. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because the overwhelming majority of valuable discoveries happen when someone decides to look before spending. What makes the 1994 quarter especially intriguing is its reputation as a market ghost. In numismatic circles, the ghost coin is a piece that collectors know exists but rarely encounter. It generates stories, rumors, auction excitement, and collector fascination precisely because examples are so elusive. The best-known specimens often disappear into private collections for years or even decades. When one finally emerges, competition can become intense. Collectors aren't simply buying a coin, they're buying scarcity, they're buying history, they're buying the possibility that another example may not surface anytime soon. And scarcity drives value. Throughout the history of coin collecting, markets have repeatedly demonstrated a willingness to reward exceptional rarity with extraordinary prices. The combination of low survival numbers, strong collector demand, and high-grade certification can create perfect conditions for explosive valuation. Speaking of grades, condition is everything. A quarter that spent years bouncing around in circulation will never command the same premium as one preserved in near-perfect condition. Professional grading services evaluate coins according to strict standards, assigning numerical grades that heavily influence market value. The difference between a circulated example and a pristine mint state example can be staggering. Sometimes, the gap isn't hundreds of dollars. It isn't thousands of dollars. It can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think about that for a moment. A tiny difference in preservation can create a life-changing difference in value. And that's why serious collectors handle potential discoveries with extreme care. No polishing, no cleaning, no attempts to improve appearance. Ironically, cleaning a coin often destroys value rather than creating it. Here's another question. How many people have unknowingly damaged a rare coin because they thought they were making it look better? Probably far more than anyone wants to admit. The hidden wealth aspect of coin collecting is one reason the hobby continues attracting new participants every year. Unlike many investments that require substantial capital, coin collecting offers the possibility, however area, of making a remarkable discovery from everyday circulation. That possibility taps into something deeply human, the treasure hunt, the dream that extraordinary value might be hiding in plain sight. And nowhere is that dream more powerful than with coins that look ordinary. After all, if a rare coin looked obviously valuable, it wouldn't remain hidden for long. The 1994 D quarter exemplifies this perfectly. To most people, it's 25 cents. To a knowledgeable collector, it might warrant a much closer examination. Now let's talk about the number that gets everyone's attention. The figure that sparks headlines and fuels endless searches. The potential value approaching $781,000. Whenever numbers like this appear in the collecting world, context matters. Exceptional auction prices generally require extraordinary circumstances. We're talking about the finest known examples, dramatic and verified errors, elite grading, strong provenance, and aggressive bidding among determined collectors. These are not ordinary coins. They represent the absolute peak of rarity and desirability. Yet the existence of such valuations changes everything. Why? Because it reminds people that valuable discoveries still happen. Every year, collectors uncover overlooked varieties, forgotten collections, and previously unidentified treasures. The market continues evolving as new information emerges and demand shifts. And demand has been particularly interesting in recent years. Economic uncertainty often drives renewed interest in tangible assets, collectibles, rare coins, precious metals, and historical artifacts frequently benefit from this attention. As more people enter the hobby, competition for exceptional material tends to increase. That creates urgency, not panic, but urgency, because opportunities rarely wait forever. The next attention reset is simple. Ask yourself this question: when was the last time you actually inspected the coins in your possession? Most people never do. They assume pocket change is exactly what it appears to be. Collectors know better. Collectors understand that appearances can be deceiving. Some of the greatest discoveries in numismatic history began with someone taking a second look. As we move toward the conclusion of this remarkable story, the lesson becomes clear. The 1994 D Washington quarter represents more than a coin. It represents awareness. It represents knowledge. It represents the difference between seeing money and understanding value. Every collector starts the same way, with curiosity, with questions, with the decision to pay attention when others do not. The rarest coins often survive because one person noticed something unusual. One person looked closer. One person refused to assume. And perhaps that's the most valuable lesson of all. The next time you receive change at a store, don't dismiss it automatically. Examine it, learn from it, study the details. The world of numismatics rewards patience, observation, and education far more than luck alone. Because somewhere out there, another extraordinary coin is waiting to be discovered. Maybe it's in a forgotten piggy bank, maybe it's in a family collection, maybe it's sitting in a jar on a kitchen shelf right now, and maybe, just maybe, it's closer than you think. If you enjoyed this exploration into hidden treasures and rare coin discoveries, make sure you stay connected because our next story dives into an even more elusive coin, one that has stunned collectors with record-breaking prices and a rarity level that borders on mythical. Most people have never heard of it, yet a single example has left seasoned numismatists speechless. You won't want to miss what's coming next.